Now, one thing I want to say that's super important is that the word customer can mean different things, and you may have more than one customer. When I say customer, I'm referring to the end user, the person who's actually going to use your idea. But in social entrepreneurship, there could be many other stakeholders, and even in commercial entrepreneurship. So the end user might not be the decision maker that decides if this end user is going to be able to use your idea. And the economic buyer or payer might be someone different, right? So for example, in Hippocampus, the end users are the children. That's who we're designing around. But then the decision maker are the parents. And in this case, the payer, the economic buyer, is also the parents. But you could imagine a situation where the economic buyer is a nonprofit organization, right, that's providing the service. So all of these people can be thought of as your customers. When I say customer, I mean end user. But the point is that you need to have a value proposition for all these stakeholders. The end user that you're designing around, the decision maker who decides if this end user is going to engage with you. It could be the end user, it could be someone different, and the economic buyer who's paying for this. So why would someone want to pay for it? Why would someone want to use it? What are you asking of each of these different groups of people? If they're different, they might be the same. And what problem are you solving for each of these people? Use the formula. We help X, do Y by doing Z. Now, questions you want to be able to answer about each of these groups of people are, what is the immediate short-term problem you're solving for them? And this is different from the larger societal challenge, right? It's like what they're experiencing every day or every week. What aspect are they struggling with? What solutions do they turn to now in the absence of your offering? Even if these solutions are less than perfect, what are the alternatives? And what do they base their decisions on regarding these solutions and alternatives? What do they spend their time and money on? Where do they get their information from? So this is what I mean by profiling your customer. A helpful tool that I used last semester with my students is from the DIY toolkit, which you met last module, and it's the personas template. So it asks you to sketch out an example of an end user, and you can also use it for a decision maker and an economic buyer, and why they would engage with you. And it asks you to think about why they might not engage with you, which is just as important. So sketching out a customer persona is a great way to start figuring out whether and how your idea will work. I recommend starting with that. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a start, and then you validate it through your conversations. So that's where I want you to start. And the next step is to sketch out what it would look like for that person to engage with your solution. And this is where it'll force you to think about the nuts and bolts of how it'll work. So in the next video, we're going to start fleshing out that customer experience using what I call the customer flowchart.